If you know Minis, you'll know of Magnum panels. Magnum are putting a lot of investment into upping their game. This includes new products and improvements of existing products. Their new floor and body sides are the latest developments and they are excellent. But they need to showcase them at the Classic Motor Show in the NEC in November this year. They've supplied me with their entire catalogue of Mk1 panels to build a brand new body shell, which will be exhibited in bare metal for all to see. We have some heritage panels supplied by Ball Motive Mini Spares, as well as an M Machine rear bulkhead and a Cat Mint boot floor section. First job is going to be the corrections required to make these panels into Mk1. As I've done before, I've bought this panel from Cat Mint. That's going to be welded in place just there to make this the right shape and get rid of this large hole. I've said it before, Cat Mint do make a nice job of these sections. I'm going to prepare for the rear valance next. In the back of the boot floor, there's two flanged holes and that's where the wiring goes through to the fog light on the later models. Mk1s don't have them, so flatten out the flange, clean it up and weld a little disc in there, like that. I'm working on fitting the rear valance and closing panels. Magnum have asked me to be openly critical on any issues that I find so that they can address those issues and produce better panels. This closing panel is not constructed in the same way as a genuine part, but I mean, for a race car that this is going to be, it doesn't matter. The only fitment issue is the boot floor has a little bit of a kink just here, which is normal, but this is flat, so I need to put a little kink in there. I'll just bend that in a vise. I need to trim a small bit of metal off of there, that's no big issue, and I need to make just a little bit more shape in the closing panel so that the bolt holes line up. I've done those bits on this side and you can see it fits lovely now. The bolt hole lines up perfect. And the flange will line up lovely with the rear quarter panel wheel arch flange. And now with those few simple tweaks, fitment is perfect. The bumper hole aligns perfectly. It sits nice and flat on the boot floor. and the subframe mount holes line nicely. I said the construction isn't quite the same. Usually where the spot weld join is here, this bit and this bit are one panel, and then this bit is joined on separately with a spot welded flange there. I've just spot welded on these little tabs for the wiring loom between the backlights. In the videos up to now, I have mentioned that there are other options for the floor. This is that other option. It's a one-piece pressing by Magnum Panels. As you can see, it's very crisp and the lines are superb. It's a hell of a bit of a kit that presses this out. The only thing is, with some cars, the owners go for the other option because it's not quite as perfect. These lines are very crisp. The lines on the other option aren't as crisp, which is, got to be honest, a little bit more like the original floors. But you got to say, that is superb. I got it bolted to the jig so I could fit the heel panel. I've got some of the spot welds on, and then I thought I ought to do this bit of video. That side's clamped up, ready to be spot welded, and then I'll be fitting the cross member. That's just the panels rattling together. This is what made that funny rattle. That vibrating with the electric current. We'll be taking them off because they're not needed on a race car. They're for the brake and fuel lines, but they're going to be running inside the car. There's one that side, they'll be coming off. When fitting the seat cross member, it's really easy to get it unsquare. This can often splay out or stick in too far. It needs to be accurate. So just check it with a square, clamp it in place before spot weld it. On the outer sill, there's usually a jacking point just here, which inside the sill is kind of an extension of the cross member. That's what it looks like. But on this one, being a race car, it's not going to have that, and it's not going to have the other little stiffeners that go inside the sill. It's going to have a big substantial roll cage. So we're leaving that off, and what we're going to do, show you on this other sill, so that it appears to look correct at a glance. We're just going to spot weld a piece of steel on the inside. Just like that. The back end of the outer sill should have a little joggle in it just like that, which I've just formed, and that's where it tucks inside the heel panel, as I'll show you in a minute. Just a little detail, this is the end of the heel panel, the sill slots in there. See that flange isn't quite as long as that flange, so I'll extend that out slightly. But this flange just needs knocking back a thickness of metal. It needs to be a thickness of metal further inboard than this. I'll show you why. On this side, I've moved that flange in, that thickness of metal. I've extended this flange a little so that it's the same as the flange underneath. There's the joggle on the sill that you saw me form, and that fits together nicely. And when the wheel arch comes up here, there's a closing panel that goes in between it. And if you don't knock that back far enough, it just makes the bottom of the quarter panel stick out too far. Really simple. So the main floor assembly is now built. The sills are on, the cross members on, the heel panel's on. Spot welded the sills at a 1-inch pitch. I usually do them the same as original, which is more or less 2-inch pitch, but I was asked to do more than usual. Same with the heel panel. And the cross member I do as a 1-inch pitch anyway. So I'm going to park that because I want to get all the corrections done to the panels. When I say corrections, I mean making them Mark 1 specific, because some of them aren't. Get all of them done and then start assembling later in the week. As ever, 2 of the wiper holes on the scuttle need welding up, and the washer jet hole needs relocating to the right place for a Mark 1. Just preparing the front screen aperture. This top cant rail above the windscreen. Got 2 small screw holes. For a late style sun visor. We're not fitting that, I'm making this into a pre-66. I could go with the 1965 sun visor, but that's a lot of work. So the early Mark 1 sun visor is the easiest option. I'll weld up these 2 screw holes. I've just tapped out these plates. That could be welded in there to screw it into. Not that important on a race car. It's just what I do, really. So this is the brand new, genuine rear panel. It's got the Mk1 lights. I can't believe it still comes with the later size window, which is about 3 inches bigger than a Mk1 window. You can see the gap there. There is an infill panel you can buy that goes down there, sits in this lip, and you can spot weld it and fill it, or continuous weld it, whatever you want to do. I don't think that's a very nice way of doing it. So, something I've wanted to do for about 6 years, but not had the opportunity. I've made a whole new pillar. I'll have a short weld there and a weld round there. I can metal finish those. Won't need any filler. It leaves this nice and smooth. I haven't fitted the Magnum inner wheel arches before. Don't know how good they'll be. The genuine ones don't fit brilliantly. We'll see. The inner wheel arches are one of the datums for aligning the body as well as the 3 holes in the bumper lip. So we'll see how the body sides line up to these. Got a bit of a gap just here between the inner wheel arch and the side panel. That's because there's a bit of a gap here. Because there's a little shape on the wheel arch that should be there that isn't on these. So I'm going to form that now. So that was flat. It just should have an angle flange for welding. I don't know why. It's just the shape BMC decided to make it. You can see it's quite a nice join on the inside now compared to that side, which I haven't done yet. Okay, that other side fits now. So for now, I'm going to leave them like that. That will do just while I'm exploring what these wheel arches are. So like I said, the other datum is the bumper lip and the 3 bumper holes. So I'm going to get the rear panel on, clamp it up to the side panels, and that will be another location for the side panels. See if I just got to move them backwards or forwards very slightly. It's an M machine rear bulkhead. I've fitted them before. They are good. But it's a pattern part and these are a pattern part and neither of them are quite the same shape. I need to make an adjustment on the flange here to suit the shape of the inner wheel arch. As this car's going on exhibition in the NEC, it's not only Magnum's panels, it's my attention to detail as well. The green hinge for the boot is an early hinge. You can see there's a ridge running along the middle of the top half. That's how boot hinges come now. That's a later type hinge. It's a brand new heritage hinge. The early one isn't available, so it doesn't take a lot to alter it to resemble an early hinge. I'm doing the front inner wing corrections. These are sold as genuine Mark 1 inner wings. This stiffener is the wrong shape though. If you can see it there. And that recess with the X in it, that shouldn't be there. That's the shape the stiffener should be. Need to trim this flange down. This side I've done. I'll trim this out a little bit more now and then planish it flat and weld the hole up.